Hello. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Floureon H101 quadcopter. This is a very full-featured quadcopter in the mini range. This has can do flips. It's fairly comparable to the Ishin H8 Mini. It has headless mode, so no matter what direction you're flying, whatever direction you set it your forward, it will just take that and just move with it. So even if you're flying backwards or just continuously yawing, it'll know which direction it's which. This one also has a very unique ability to fly inverted, so it will flip and then keep its orientation on here. One of the only drawbacks that I don't really care for is that the power port is actually hardwired to the main board there. So you're looking into if you're not very careful with this, it could potentially break. I'm a little paranoid of that. I like having wires that hang out a little bit because that gives me something to grab onto when I need to break the power. So anyways, let's go look at the control here. We have our throttle, yaw, pitch and roll over here. This is for headless mode. This is your headless and one key return. These are your rate buttons. It only has two rates, but the expert rate is actually pretty responsive. This is your pitch trim and roll trim. And on the front here we have this button would be for flying inversion, like doing the inverted flying. So it'll do like a 180 degree flip. And then this one is for your 360 degree flips. So yeah, and one thing that's kind of nice about this is like even if you're flipping back and forth, if you eventually whatever you flip to, it'll just assume that that's your new like nose of the aircraft. So even if you somehow manage to flip it to where this is what would forward, it'll now treat that as forward. So you don't really have to. It's a lot less confusing when you're like dealing with orientation. So the lights on it are actually pretty bright, very small, but best way to see this. Let's go ahead and take a flight of the Floureon H101. And before I go, I just want to talk about the battery of the Floureon. This is a 150 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt, 30C battery. Standard connector, so if you have the Ishin H8 Mini or something similar, you can definitely use those batteries as well. Let's go to that flight. Alright, so let's go for a flight of the Floureon H101. Today I am actually in the windy city of Chicago. I'm here for training for my job, so instead of going to the park like I normally do, we're doing it inside a hotel room. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect the battery here, and let's go ahead and do that. And as you can see, those lights are pretty bright. So tuck that battery into the battery bay. It's a little bit snug. And we're going to set that on the ground. And this is possibly one of my favorite things about the Floureon is how it works here. So we're going to turn on the transmitter. Immediately start blinking. Bring it down. So let's go ahead and try that again. So we're going to turn it off. The Floureon will go back to blinking. We're going to turn it on. And it's connected. You don't have to do anything like up and down to bind it. You don't have to do any key press, anything like that. It will automatically find it. And I think that's actually one of the best things about this, is just how simple it is to get it going. So like, yeah, immediately I'm ready to go. Just turn it on and go. So let's go ahead and lift off with this. And and I'm pretty sure everybody's thinking, like, let's see that inverted flying. It's actually pretty stable. And one thing too with the inverted flying, and pardon the mess here, I've been here overnight, but you can actually take off no matter what side you're flipped to. Alright, I just took off like that. Let's flip it back over. Yeah, no matter which side, you can take off in that direction. So let's flip it back here. Yeah, and I'm still pretty inexperienced with this, but I've been growing into the hobby, and I have a lot of fun with this. Very tight flips. A lot of recoverability from that. Bouncing off the ceilings, which is a good thing that we have those prop guards that are in place. I think when you get a little bit further on with getting used to flying these things, you may consider trimming those off and reducing some of the drag on it. I'm going to trim this back a little bit. Keeps wanting to go forward. Another thing too that you can do if you're having trouble with stability is you can go down and to the left and down and to the right to reset the gyros. And I believe the other one is for like the headless mode. And already it's flying a little bit better than it was before. So let's go into the expert mode. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and click this, or actually the lower button. So this one is beginner mode, expert mode there. You were seeing quite a bit more pitch. And it is, the yaw is actually pretty fast on that. Not as insane as the H8 Mini, but it's still pretty far up there. So let's go ahead and give it a try as well with the... Oh no, it's upside down. Well, we can fix that. Let's flip back over. I'm going to try headless mode. I'm going to warn you, I'm not very good at, I haven't quite figured this out because I've been focusing more on orientation and flying it just based on which way the nose is heading, but let's try this. And I already seem to have messed it up because, alright, so that's... Yeah, man, it was kind of crawling around there. Let's see. Whoa. Okay, that went a little out of control there. I'm going to turn off headless mode. And let's try it again. No. I need to do some reading up on how headless mode is actually supposed to work. And as you can tell, it beeps continuously while it's in headless mode. The one key return, I do know that whatever direction you send, like you set the headless mode as, it'll just pitch it back that direction. So it's not really returning, it's just going back the way it started off from, so the direction. And let's bring it back into beginner rate, because small area that I'm in is not really the best for wild, out of control flying. But as you can see, very, very stable. And I got this on a flash deal from Gearbest for about, I think it was like $10, something like that. Something insanely cheap. Yeah, it was such a great deal. I was just like, okay, well, let's get that. And now you can see the red is in back, and it's responding to pitch back on that. And let's go punch out to the ceiling. Woo! Alright. Kind of lost control again there. And we had a propeller fly off. When I initially got this, propellers were flying off all the time. Now, I think now that they've kind of settled into there, it's a little bit more stable. I did swap a couple out with, it came with 4 extra propellers and a charger, so right out of the box you're ready to go. And for something as full featured as this, you can't really go wrong. So that's my review of the Floureon H101. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again. Have a good day.